Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Budweiser Gardens on a beautiful November day. My name is Mike Stubbs from 980 CFPL. Joining us today, we have Dale Hunter, we have Paul Cotter, we have Mark Hunter, and we have Rob Simpson. If we go back to the 80s, everybody knows of the Edmonton Oilers of the 80s. In fact, Mark and Dale's brother Dave played on teams that would sit on the bench, and they would score 2-3 goals in a game. And it would go up and down the bench going, when are we going to get 4? Let's get 4. And they'd get 4. When are we going to get 5? And they'd get 5. They had this hunger. And in a week, we are going to honor a team here at Budweiser Gardens that was named Team of the Century, the 2004-2005 London Knights. And that was one of those ingredients they had, that hunger. You want to go out, and whatever you have, you want to go and get more. And they would do that again and again. And ultimately, they ended the season with the Memorial Cup trophy above their heads. Last year, Paul Cotter played for the Lincoln Stars and had a coach by the name of Cody Chuck. And that's the word that he would use to describe what Paul would do. Big situation, he was hungry to be out there, wanted to be out there. And in the end, they too had tremendous success. And today, the London Knights would like to announce that Paul Cotter is bringing that attitude and that resume to the London Knights. Please welcome a 4th round pick of the Vegas Golden Knights in 2018, Paul Cotter.
Good, doesn't it, guys? Good. Yep.
Well, Paul, if you want to grab the microphone, that is the second Knights sweater you've put on in a while. The last one, a Golden Knights sweater going back to June. Take us back to the NHL introduction, because not too many people can say they play for the Golden Knights and the London Knights in their life.
Yeah, I mean, it was a pretty crazy experience. You know, whenever you can kind of hear your name called throughout a crowd, especially with that type of situation, it was breathtaking. I mean, stood up pretty quick and hugged my parents and friends and went down to the media room, and from there on out, I think I was in a daze for a bit. So, I mean, that day was so special in my life, and you know, now that I can be here and put on this jersey and know how good of an organization this is, and to get started, it's going to be really cool.
Well, now that you've arrived in London, a little cooler, I imagine, than the day you arrived in Vegas in the summer for development camp. A little cooler today?
Yeah, it was pretty hot out there, so adjusting to that, the heat there and the kind of game style was pretty cool as well.
You had a chance to actually step on the ice with a guy who would become your London Knights teammate in Jordan Coy. Score on him at development camp?
I don't know if I remember correctly, but I think on Twitter I got a video of him shooting bottom right, so I don't know, could be wrong. But.
Well, Mark Hunter, tell us a little bit about the kind of player that Paul Cotter is.
You know, I seen Paul play last year in the USHL, and he's a young man that plays both ends of the ice. He plays a hard game, a character game. The game is, as Mike said, that when the game was on the line, he wanted to get things done. You know, it's funny. He reminds me of a little bit of a Dave Bolin kind of player who scored key goals for the London Knights, and went on to Chicago and scored some key goals there. So he reminds me of that kind of player where you know what, he just oozes character and oozes wanting to win.
Any questions from the floor before we break into one-on-ones?
Yeah, I got a couple, Mike, as usual. Connect the dots for us, Mark, or similar if you would. How did the young man end up here?
You connect.
Yeah, well, we'd watched Paul since back he was playing Little Caesars, and our scout at the time, Tommy Menino, knew of Paul, and we actually, I think Dale and I watched him at the Battle of the Border in Sarnia a long time ago. So he was always somebody, and this is when he was already past his draft for the OHL, that we'd watched and we liked, and at the time, he wasn't sure which direction he was going to go, and we continued those discussions even last year. In the summer, I had some talks with his agent about, what his path was going to be, and at that point, it was, he was still going the school route at that point. So it's probably been, at least 2 years that we've been talking to his agent and been familiar with Paul and kind of tracking his development, and it's kind of just been slowly gaining some traction out over the last couple of years.
Going to play this weekend, Doug?
Yep.
You got 3 and 3. You got 3 games in 3 days. Has that ever happened in college hockey?
Not in college hockey. The year before in the USHL happened quite a bit, so I think I'm somewhat used to it.
Where is Western Michigan University?
Kalamazoo, Michigan.
Kalamazoo.
Yep.
That's south, isn't it?
Yep.
South of Detroit.
Yep.
What did you learn about this team that you're now a part of when you were playing college hockey?
I think it kind of goes for everybody. I mean, when you hear the team name London Knights, you know how successful it is and how many alumni has been through this organization, and I think that's the first thing I thought of, and how successful this place has been so far.
Speaking of alumni, there's been a lot of kids from Michigan play here. There's some right now. Do you know any of them?
I know. I think everybody knows Patrick Kane, so yeah.
But he's not from Michigan. He's from Buffalo.
True.
I know he played Honey Baked for numerous amount of years, but.
Any other questions?